Well done, people. Welcome back to the Nick J. Francis channel. Immediate match reaction. The game's just finished right now. Arsenal, Aston Villa. Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 1. Crazy game. Probably, I would say, so far this season, our best performance. Maybe not our best performance under Arteta. Top 5 performances under Arteta, I would say. Up there with sort of the FA Cup semi-final and FA Cup final performances. I saw the starting 11 and I was a little bit worried. Partey and Lokonga, I was a little bit concerned when I saw that, to be honest with you. I wasn't super confident. I knew we needed a win, but probably would I have taken a draw? Maybe. To be honest with you, Aston Villa coming off of a loss. They've got so many attacking players in their team. They've got a couple of targets that we were looking at. We would take a Watkins. We wanted Buendia. Obviously, Martinez, a lot of us were not sure about Ramsdale. We really wanted Martinez to stay. And so this was, there was a lot of storylines going into this game, a lot of narratives going into this game. After the Tottenham game, I said after the Tottenham game that that's the type of performance we need. And then we had a really tough draw against Brighton. And then we had a nonsense draw against Crystal Palace. And I did say, it wasn't a full 90 minutes of great football versus Tottenham. It was about 35 minutes of great football versus Tottenham, where we pressed high, and we just didn't seem to be able to press teams, take the lead, and then keep kicking on from there. And that really is what sets us apart from the top teams, is that we just can't do it over a 90-minute period. We can't sustain our game plan over a 90-minute period. So I was worried, but the game started. We came out aggressive. We pressed really high. Super impressed with Tavares. Up and down constantly. His pressing game is incredible. Smith Rowe as well, really impressive from a defensive perspective. We associate Smith Rowe with going forward, linking up play. He was dropping back, he was making tackles, he was working really hard. So that was really impressive. And we got a goal, and then it becomes a mental game. You look at the body language of the team, and for me, once we go a goal up, you can see the team mentally a little bit worried, because we have a history of going up and then sitting back and not kicking on and not applying the pressure. And you can see it. They start to get a little bit shaky when we go a goal up. We maybe play better when we're a goal down, or when it's 0-0, when the pressure's off, or even when they've kind of accepted defeat. When the pressure's on them and they're expected to go on and win, they really struggle with that mentally. And that's the mentality we need to drive out of this team. And we drive that out of the team with good performances. We drive that out of the team with performances like today. Really impressive. Half-time, we should probably have been 2-3 goals up on the balance of play. Against Crystal Palace, we had ample opportunity to be 2-3 goals up. Instead, we were 1 goal up, and then they came back, and then suddenly we're chasing the game. And that's not what we want. We want to be leaders. We want to be leading the game and taking control. And that's what we did today. We got a penalty. There's lots of dispute over the penalty. I like the way the ref played it in terms of VAR, in terms of the half-time whistle, in terms of, just blowing the whistle and saying, before we go to half-time, let's take a look, let's see what happens. We saw the ref blow the whistle for half-time at Man United when somebody wanted a VAR review and they didn't give it the review. So really happy to see that type of refereeing from Craig Paulson today. And Michael Oliver said it's a penalty. For me, it was I'm torn. My first reaction was that maybe it's not a penalty. Maybe it's a little bit soft. Target seems to get the ball. He does go through the back of him, but he does go for the ball. He does get the ball. There's a lot of contact on the ball for me. But, VAR say, listen, he got enough of the man to justify it being a penalty. And it is tough. It's a tough one to take, but we've had that go against us so many times. We just have to, we have to take it when it goes in our favour. So we take it. And of course, another storyline, it's Aubameyang up against Emi Martinez, who's been very vocal about us and about his time with Arsenal since he's left. And so there's a bit of, not really bad blood. I think there's lots of Arsenal fans like myself that really love Emi Martinez still, but he's not a fan favourite, let's say that. And then going and spending 40 million on Aaron Ramsdale. So he's not a fan favourite. So they know each other really well. Aubameyang steps up to take the penalty, puts it bottom left corner. It's not really hit with conviction. It's an okay penalty. It's not the worst penalty in the world. It's fine. Martinez goes the right way, and before anybody can react, Aubameyang's back in there, and Martinez gets back on his feet and dives back the other way to make a save, to make a second save. And Aubameyang just manages to sort of dink the ball over him as he's diving. And if Aubameyang had put it on the floor, Martinez might have even made a second save because he was up and reacting again really really quickly. I think the only thing is he palmed it back into the central path instead of palming it wide behind his own post. So a bit unfortunate for Emi Martinez. I still have a bit of a soft spot for him and I want to see him do well, but obviously not against us. And Aubameyang slots it in. It's 2-0 and we go into half time. 2-0 up, and that's then again it's another mental game. Everybody, all the fans, probably the team themselves in the back of their minds, and all the pundits. The talk is okay. It's a good first half from Arsenal, but what Arsenal comes out in the second half? Can they sustain that same pressure? Can they keep pressing them? Can they keep playing football? Are they going to sit back? We don't want to do what Spurs do with Nuno and score a goal and sit back. It's Jose Mourinho tactics. We want to keep going. And in terms of high press, in terms of footballing strategy and stuff, I think what really sets the Man Cities and the Liverpools and stuff like that apart is that they have a game plan for a full 90 minutes. The teams that are a little bit underneath that, Tuchel tends to change his tactics a little bit, but Chelsea are sort of on the cusp. They're probably the third best team in the league at the moment. They're sort of on that transition, but a lot of the other guys like Oli changes his tactics. Arteta changes his tactics when something doesn't go right. Maybe they're not getting things right from the get-go. They switch it up and they're very pragmatic. And I guess a lot of that is down to the fact that they're probably the managers who are under some of the most pressure in the league for their jobs, and so they have a tendency to double, triple, quadruple, maybe overthink their strategies and their tactics. So they're always changing things up and you're never really sure quite, when we talk about trust the process, we're never quite sure what that means. We know what it means as a club, but what does it mean in terms of now? What does it mean in terms of this Arsenal team? So we come out for the second half and we're just relentless. We keep pressing them all the way, exactly what we wanted. Like I say, probably the best performance. Still not a full 90 minutes of high press and high energy. I'm conscious that we played on Monday and it's only Friday, so we only played a few days ago, and it's going to come through the winter period. It's going to be intensive, lots and lots of games. We've got players picking up injuries and different things like that, so I appreciate that side of things, but that is the level that we have to play at. We have to have a squad where we can play this type of football for a full 90 minutes and not rest and not take our foot off the gas. Against Tottenham, it was 35 minutes, but today it was about 75, 80 minutes, which was really, really good. It was enough to get us, through the game. Jacob Ramsey scored an unbelievable goal. The keeper had no idea it was coming. The defenders had no idea it was coming. Leon Bailey had the ball and Jacob Ramsey just said, get off, and just had a strike and it went in top bins. And that was class. And we did invite them a little bit back into the game, but by that point, Aubameyang's hobbling, Saka's hobbling, lots of people are picking up knocks. I think Ben White went down with a knock. Lacazette had to go off injured. So, Lacazette hasn't played any football for 6 months at this kind of intensity. So, like I said last week, we have to use our squad. I know that we might be looking at players going out and looking at other players coming in, but we've got a squad there for a reason. And we will kill the squad if we do not rotate. So that's one of the negatives. Overall, really, really good performance. We're seeing the style that Arteta wants to put in place, and don't be surprised based on the kind of football that he wants to play if it gets to the transfer window and you see players coming in that you may not know. They're not name brand players. They're not going to be players that are coming from top 4 clubs or anything like that, but they may be players that can play a specific style. Players like Lokonga. I think Lokonga was brilliant. For me, Partey was man of the match. Quite comfortably. I thought about it quite a lot, but for me, Partey was man of the match. Both going forward, he got his goal as well from a corner, a header, not something we really associate with Thomas Partey, but he put himself about. He nearly scored a second goal from another header from the opposite side. His movement was brilliant. And then the distribution, very, very calm, very relaxed, very composed. And then defensively, the amount of times that there maybe was an angle for Aston Villa to cut on the break and he's intercepted the play, but it could have been so many players today. Lacazette doesn't chip in with goals like he used to. It's not really his game when we're playing fast-paced, high-press football, but he runs like a madman. He drops back, makes tackles, gets stuck in. He can link play. He's almost playing like a bit of a number 10 at times because our wingers are so quick and they run straight past him. But he could have been in for an honourable mention. Aubameyang, of course, getting goals, doing what we expect him to do. he could have been in for an honourable mention. And if it wasn't Partey, for me, it might have been Tavares. Tavares was pressing. He's got really tricky people to deal with. Matty Cash is a really good player. In the later stage of the game, he had Leon Bailey to deal with, who's a very tricky, very good player as well. And he done really, really well, Tavares. You know, not somebody who's got a huge amount of experience playing at this sort of level, at this sort of intensity. Same as Lokonga, not somebody, you know, I know he's played at Anderlecht, but not the level of the Premier League, and not over a prolonged period of time. So really impressive to see these guys step into a starting 11 game and really dominate the game. Aston Villa are a strong, probably maybe before at the beginning of the season with the transfers that they'd done with the Jack Grealish money, I would have said they were top 6 contenders. And so for us to go out there with Lokonga and Tavares in the starting 11 and really boss this game is really, really impressive. Of course, Ben White and Gabriel didn't have a huge amount to do, but Ben White was solid every single time we need him. Really, really solid. The only negatives are not keeping a clean sheet. It's not the end of the world, but something to build on. You know, Ramsdale looked pretty pissed off. Again, I say it every week, he's an Arsenal fan. You can see that he's an Arsenal fan. He celebrates with the fans when we score, and he looks really, really hurt when we concede a goal, even if it means that we win the game 3-1. He's just not happy about conceding goals at all. And that's what you need. Big communicator, big personality. That's exactly what you need. And then the squad. Again, we only made changes when people were running themselves into the ground, and we need to be making these changes earlier. Maitland-Niles was a good substitution, but Martinelli comes in 90 minutes in just to see the game out for the last 4 minutes of added time. And, you know, Lacazette and Aubameyang, they're hobbling off the pitch. You know, these guys are 30, 31, 32 years old, winding down, not necessarily winding down their careers, but winding down their careers in terms of their peak years. And Martinelli's winding up his career in terms of his peak years, coming into his early 20s. And so we need to be getting this guy minutes. Everybody says it. We're all in agreement. And especially a game like this was primed for Martinelli to come on and cause some trouble. There's only really one opportunity for him to get on the end of a ball, big route one ball, when Villa were pressing us, and John McGinn dealt with him really, really well. But yeah, you know, just taking our foot off the gas a little bit and running players into the ground before we make substitutions. That's the only real negative, but I like what Arteta did with the team. Really, really impressed. When we talk about trust the process, again, like I say, it's about getting that full high press squad so we can get more players in that can play that type of football. Not necessarily, you know, like I say, £100 million Jack Grealish players and stuff like that. We're Arsenal, these types of things are unlikely to happen. But going and getting in people that can run, that have got an engine, that are going to press, that are going to work hard. Everybody worked hard on that pitch today. They all really, really deserve the win. And Thomas Partey, man of the match for me, and Arteta is definitely got this one right. So that's the process for me, is just stepping it up a level. You know, like I said, if we can continue this for not necessarily for the rest of the season, but if we can put a good run of games together and start playing this football consistently, because at the moment we don't see it consistently, but if we can start playing this type of football consistently, we can definitely be challenging for top 6 and get ourselves back in Europe. And then, listen, we can start building from there. But getting back into top 6 is going to be really crucial. I think there's a couple of games left, and if we win the next 2 games, depending on how other results go, we could find ourselves in 4th or maybe 5th place. So, you know, it's one of those, it's too early to call. We're not in a good place. We're not in a terrible place. But it's about what happens in the next couple of games, and we need to build on this momentum. But for right now, the guys need to rest, and we need to be thinking about rotations, because, like I say, Saka, Aubameyang, and Lacazette all picking up injuries or hobbling off the pitch. And as an Arsenal fan, you know, one of the ways that you know that your team is doing what they're supposed to be doing is if the other team is kicking you. And I think at the end of half time, I think Villa had 3 yellow cards, and I think they probably had 5 or 6 yellow cards by the end of the game. They were so frustrated, couldn't really get near players, and had to resort to kicks and late challenges, and really, really frustrated. Douglas Luiz throwing the ball away out of frustration. And that's what we want to see, because that's what happens when you're up against a good, pure footballing side. And we're not a good, pure footballing side at the moment, but that's what we want to get to. So listen, you know, let me know what you think in the comments below about the game. Partey was my man in the match. Any particular man in the match for you? I think it's completely wide open to man in the match, and it's down to interpretation. For me, it's Partey. It could be a bunch of different players depending on what you like, depending on interpretation, depending on, you know, what you saw. Maybe you saw something that I didn't see. So let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And listen, we go again next week. That is the best performance that I've seen from us definitely this season in terms of a 90-minute game, and maybe top 2 or 3 performances under Arteta so far. So like I say, let me know what you think. Cheers. Bye.